So I'm taking a drive to Phoenix right now and thought I'd kill some time and what the fuck, record something. Anyways, I wanted to set the story straight on the band Unorthodox, the band I was involved with for many, many years. And a lot of people recall the two different versions. Actually, there were multiple versions of it, just under the same name. My older brother Bobby Lucero, Robert Lucero, his best friend, who later became one of my best friends, was Skip Moore. Bobby, my brother, he went to school with John Cadena, Skip Moore, elementary school, Lambton Elementary. And then they all ended up at Bellflower High School. They went right away. Bobby, my brother, went to another high school, Walker Junior High in Cypress and then Kennedy, and then ended up in Bellflower High. But while they were there, there was a guy who played guitar named Mike Cortez. There was Louis Medina on drums, Rich Sanchez, who was related to Mike Cortez, on bass, John Cadena on second guitar, and they actually had a vocalist named, I don't remember his real name, but I remember they called him Munch, blonde-haired guy. And I guess one day Munch, either he didn't make it or something, or was late to rehearsal, or maybe he was there, I'm not sure what the deal was. But my brother Bobby and Skip were at their band rehearsal, and somehow, I think, if I remember correctly, Munch didn't know the lyrics to Breaking the Law or something to that effect. And so Skip said, hey, I know how to sing that, or not sing it, but I know the lyrics. So he grabbed the mic and he rocked it. And everyone was like, fuck yeah, this guy's got balls, you know, he just did it. So, as a testimony to Skip, he was never a vocalist. He didn't grow up singing around the house or nothing like that. He was not a singer. He just, you know, I think a lot of rock metal guys were just someone who has the balls to get up there. Which sometimes is unfair because they tend to catch a lot of flack. You know, people who don't know shit about singing or don't have the balls to do what they did will put them down and talk shit on them. Excuse me, I got a sinus thing going on here real bad today. I mean, I always got it, but today it seems to be a little bit worse. So anyways, Skip ends up joining the band, and the band ended up, well, actually they replaced Louis Medina, the drummer, and with a guy named Denny. And then eventually the band just broke up. There was no band. Skip started singing for a band called Mystic Force or Mystic Forest, which had Rich Dirks on guitar, which we'll get to that later. And they were based out of Lakewood. Well, me being 3.5 years younger than these guys, and even maybe 5 or 6 years younger than, say, Rich Sanchez and Rich Dirks, and even Denny, I was like just the little pain in the ass rocker kid, you know, and I was just try to tag along everywhere I could to just try to learn guitar or learn about music, or just hang around the cool guys, whatever. I started jamming with the guitar player at Norwalk High School. Now at this time we don't have junior highs, so I'm in 8th grade at Norwalk High School, and there's a senior by the name of Walt Drews, who's a guitar player, and me and him start talking, and we started getting together and play some guitar. He'd actually come to my house and pick me up in his mom's car, and we'd go to his garage and jam some guitar. We started learning some songs. I remember we did Wasted by Def Leppard, and everybody was doing Paranoid and Breaking the Law, Living After Midnight. But we got to the point where we're like, hey, let's try to do something with this. So Walt answered an ad, or maybe somebody called his ad, and it was two guys that went to John Glenn High School. Well, actually, one of them didn't go to John Glenn High School. He lived up the street from John Glenn High School. So Ron, the drummer, Ron Reyes, he's like a junior, maybe even a senior. I'm going to say a junior. at John Glenn High School, and he lives around the corner from Rich Sanchez. Now remember, Rich Sanchez was the bass player from Unorthodox who had broken up. So Walt and I go to jam with these guys, and I think Walt jammed with them once first because I was so young, and I don't even think he told them about me because we were afraid they were going to think like, oh, this little kid, you know, these guys must suck or something, you know. Excuse me. And so Walt says, hey, I got this call from these guys. They, you know, go to John Glenn High School, and I'm going to go check them out and see if it's, you know, what it's all about. And if it's cool, I'll set up a second jam. So needless to say, everything's cool. He sets up a second jam. I go down there, and I'm like, Rich, fuck, I know you. You know, Unorthodox. What's up, buddy? In fact, I think Walt had told me, I think you know one of the guys in this band. So anyways, we're jamming, and we've been together for probably a good 6 months, just playing in Ron's garage, just, you know, doing our songs. And I kept asking Skip to come down and sing with us. And I don't think he took, well, I know he didn't take me serious. He's probably thinking, oh, you know, Mike's probably just got a couple of, you know, young kids, and they probably suck. So anyways, Skip was no longer with Mystic Force. I don't remember what it was. Something didn't work out there. And so one day I just said, dude, just come down, just check it out. And so he comes down with my brother, I think, just to listen to us. In this way, you know, maybe they could jet out early or something, like, oh, I'm just here with Bobby and watch my little brother play, and we're gonna head out. And he was impressed. He liked what he saw. And you could tell he was itching to get up and sing, but there was no PA system. So Skip comes down probably a week later and brings his PA system. And things went well. And so now we kind of have 3 people who knew each other, you know. Me being the tag-along kid from the early Unorthodox days. We got the bass player from Unorthodox. We have the singer from Unorthodox. Well, Ron at this point says, hey, I can get us a show at John Glenn High School. See, back then in the early 80s, and mainly from the 70s, from as I'm told, they had they would often have bands on Fridays at lunches at high schools. Sometimes if they had first and second lunch, they would combine it and do a thing which I remember being told it was called brown bag. People would bring a lunch so that they wouldn't miss the band. Instead of going to the cafeteria or waiting in line at the window, they would bring their sack lunch and sit out and watch the bands play. So we're thinking of a name for the band, and we're thinking like Purgatory, Phantom, Hellgate was one of them. You know, we're just thinking of these names. And then I believe it was myself that said, well, why don't we just call it Unorthodox? Skip, you got that big banner hanging in your bedroom, and you're the singer of the band. I mean, usually, like, everyone follows, you know, the singer. Like, you know, they usually, you know, he's the front guy. He's kind of like the spokesperson for the groups or whatever. So they were kind of like, well, I don't know. And I'm thinking, okay, well, why don't we just do it for this show? And if we catch a lot of flack, then we'll just change the name. But fuck it, I mean, just so we have something. So we decide to do it, and we're thinking, oh yeah, we'll have this banner up, you know, and maybe because they already have a somewhat of a name, maybe that'll kind of just draw some attention to us. So we do the show under the name Unorthodox, and it went over okay. Went over pretty well. So we just kept the name. So, you know, to hear Skip tell the story, you know, he had the band. It was his band. I always just kind of let him tell the story because, in one hand, it kind of really didn't matter. But that's how it happened. I mean, he actually joined my band. But, you know, I looked up to those guys. So I was like, whatever. However you want to tell the story, whatever. But we can go back even further. I was a total Zeppelin fanatic. Everybody pretty much knows that. Growing up, I was singing Zeppelin as a kid. My uncles, my aunts are always playing Zeppelin when I'd go to my grandma and grandpa's house. We would go to, my mom would go to Lucky's, go grocery shopping. give me $1, I'd go next door to the Varsity Billiards there in Norwalk, and it would be like all kinds of stoners, surfer dudes, Pro-Am skateboards, you know, the Velcro wallets, all the chicks with the feathered back hair wearing the ditto jeans. Oh goddamn, that's probably where I became an ass man. Whew! You cannot wear a pair of ditto jeans and not have a nice ass. I could put on a pair of ditto jeans and you'd want to fuck me. I mean, those jeans were the shit. So anyways, you know, and this is 1977, 76. I'm a little kid. And I can remember hearing, you know, all the fucking cool rock songs, but not knowing who they were. I mean, there was Ted Nugent, of course, Zeppelin, Sabbath, Peter Frampton, really big. So rock was just always a part of me, of my growing up. Plus, my mom loved like Aerosmith and Rolling Stones, and you know, I remember going through my mother's albums one day during the summer, being bored at home, and she's at work all day long. And I'm like, let me go through her albums here. And I'm looking at them. I'm like, Jimi Hendrix? I'm like, yeah, I knew of Purple Haze. That's all that I really remembered. And that's when I got my first experience of RU Experience. And when I heard the fire and the drums on that, oh my God, I was blown away. This is fucking badass. Looks like I need to get gas pretty soon. 37 miles. So I was blown away by that. And then she has David Bowie. And I put that on, and the song Fame comes on. And it just sounded so heavy and just sexy. You know, and I'm probably 7. I don't really even know what sexy is. But, you know, you're just something about that just is a taunting rhythm that just, you know, you feel it. So then she also had Elton John's Yellow Brick Road, and I'm hearing those songs, and I'm just blown away. I'm like, Mom? Fuck, Mom's pretty fucking cool. And I'm finding the Rolling Stones, and I'm finding just a bunch of music in her collection, Eagles, Poco, and I'm just like, now I just see my mother in a whole new light, like, fuck, you know, Mom was a hippie. So that all kind of put that together. My brother, who was living with my dad, he was with my dad when he was 12, hence the reason why he went to junior high in Cypress, La Palma area. And you got to remember, my brother's 12, I'm 8.5 going on 9. So my brother, I think his first year in high school, he meets a friend named Chris, and I really wish I remembered Chris's last name. But he played guitar, and so I go over there for the weekend with my brother. I would spend weekends of the summer with my dad so I could spend time with my brother. And he rides me on his bike on his handlebars to his buddy Chris's house, and Chris is playing a bunch of Zeppelin songs on guitar. And I'm just, you know, digging it, totally fucking digging it. And it was around that same time, it's probably that same summer or something, my mom tells my Uncle Mark, take him to go see that movie, The Song Remains the Same. You know, this kid, he's just all about Zeppelin. Go take him to see that. So he came and took me. And this is the cool thing, you know, again, this is probably 1979. And these movies come on at midnight, the Midnight Madness showings. And, you know, for my mom just to okay that, you know, it's a 2-hour movie. I don't get home till 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm 11 years old. But I guess because I'm with my uncle. And we go to the Brea Mall, to some movie theater, and we go see this. And I had never seen anything like it before. I mean, I had seen a bunch of hippies and, you know, the bell-bottom jeans, the whole thing with the leather belts and everything. And they're all in line. And get inside, and the room's just filled with smoke. Everybody's smoking out. And people at the front of the movie theater, down where there's no seats, dancing, shaking their heads. I don't know if they're on acid or what, but it was a trip. That was my first time being around something like that, at that capacity. And then Jimmy Page hits the screen, and he looks like he's 20 feet tall, and he just looks cool as fuck. I mean, that Les Paul down, his long hair, and it's the way he moved, the way he played. He owned that guitar. He owned that stage. And it was like that guitar was part of him. It was an expression of who he was. And I remember thinking, I gotta do that. I'm gonna fucking play guitar. I'm a guitar player now. So getting back to my brother's friend Chris, he was selling a guitar and an amplifier for $25. And I think my mom talked him into selling it with the strap. Like, okay, I'll give you $25, but you got to throw on a strap, you know? Which seems so funny today, but I think that was the deal. And I played on that for a while, but the action was so high, really didn't stay in tune. And so then for my 12th birthday, my mom and I believe my dad and my stepmom, although my dad was against his better judgment and he didn't want nothing to do with it, and my stepfather at the time. So the four of them throw in $25 to get me this Les Paul guitar at the swap meet, which was the La Mirada swap meet. And I get it, and I'm playing, and I'm learning right away, because I'm pretty much just glued to the thing, and I'm just playing till my fingers bled. And literally, I'm not just a figure of speech. And my fingers are so sore that I would still keep playing. I would fall asleep and wake up in the morning with the guitar and the amp humming, making noises. I was just determined to play. Well, Bobby had his friends John Cadena and Skip Mord, and they would come over to the house and they'd be like, fuck, Bobby's little brother's fucking jamming guitar, man. Fuck. And we can't let this little kid outdo us. So they started playing guitar. And they got to be pretty good. I guess because the fact maybe they were older, they comprehended better, or I don't know what it was. But, you know, before you know it, they were better than I was. But the funny thing is I was the reason those two guys played an instrument. And yet I'm the one who was looking up to them, wanting to be in a band, you know. So it's all kind of funny how it was all connected. So that was basically how that happened. And I ended up being the guitar player for Unorthodox. And Skip and I, growing up together, we held the band together. We would go through numerous drummers, we'd go through numerous bass players, but we just held it together. And you know, it's kind of like saying I've been in 15 different bands just with the same singer. That's kind of how it was. But yeah, that's the scoop on that. So that was pretty much how Unorthodox became unorthodox, or remained unorthodox.